Charlie from It's Always Sunny is a janitor and rat killer of Patty's pub. Throughout the series, we see him do questionable things that make us think he isn't as smart as the other characters.
Do you have any idea how much pollution a bus causes?
I don't know. 3?
3? 3 what?
Pollutions?
I'm not a scientist. You're not a scientist, I get it.
But is Charlie truly dim-witted as he seems? In some episodes he is a buffoon, and in others he is a diabolical genius. Is this all an act? Or in other words, is Charlie secretly a genius?
Everything!
I wasn't thinking.
No, you're not really the thinking kind, though. I'm kind of the thinking one in the relationship.
You're telling me that you can't read English, but you can speak and read an entirely different language?
But none of this matters to me, okay? Because today is inspection day. A day that I pride myself on, a day that I've never failed on, and I don't plan to begin failing now. So listen to me and listen close like you've never done before. We are going to pull this thing off, so help me God.
Before I get into this theory, I just want to point out that this is all for fun. The creators themselves have noted that they don't plant seeds throughout the show for an overarching plot. They do things on the fly that are funny in the moment. For example, in Season 2, Episode 8, The Gang Runs for Office, we see one of the first instances of Charlie not being able to read or write.
You got the script that I wrote? Grab the script.
I can't read these words. They're not in the right order.
It's good.
I think you might be dyslexic, bro.
In the podcast, the creators of the show say how Charlie not being able to read wasn't in the script. It was a joke created on set, and it is now one of the staple traits of the character.
Well, and in that first scene, it was not written in the script that you couldn't read.
That's right.
That document, that was something that you just wanted to do. You were like, I'm going to try something.
Yeah.
And you just like...
We're on set, and you're like, are we literally saying that Charlie can't read?
So again, don't take this theory too seriously. It is just a fun thought experiment. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. Like I said before, throughout the series we see Charlie show his intelligence or lack thereof. Charlie has had the most troubled upbringing compared to the rest of the gang. His mother was promiscuous and never around. His father was out of the picture and was taken care of by his Uncle Jack, who most likely abused him. To deal with this trauma, Charlie huffed glue and anything he could get his hands on. This most likely caused a stunt in his mental capabilities. His mother, Bonnie Kelly, most likely has OCD as seen in Season 6, Episode 6, Mac's mom burns her house down. Bonnie does everything in threes over the irrational fear that it will keep Charlie alive.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Mrs. Kelly,
Yes?
why are you doing everything in threes?
Oh, so Charlie doesn't die.
OCD is classified as a pattern of unwanted thoughts and fears that lead you to do compulsive repetitive behaviors. If she does have OCD, it is genetic. People with OCD commonly also have ADHD, which can be passed down from generation to generation. ADHD can be classified as having a short attention span, being forgetful, being reckless, being unable to listen and carry out tasks, and acting without thinking. These are all qualities Charlie possesses and shows throughout the series. If his mother does have OCD, it's likely that Charlie has ADHD. If this is true, that would mean that Charlie isn't dumb, he just needs special treatment that he never received in school. Most instances of Charlie not being smart is the fact that he can't read, write, or is bad at math.
You pour gas into the car using one of these funnels, right? And I count how much gas is going into the car.
All right, let me just stop you right there. How exactly are you planning on counting a liquid?
I know how to count, dude. I'm not.
Okay, you do it, Mac.
This doesn't necessarily mean he is dumb. He just never got the attention and treatment he needed growing up. If you look at how Charlie treats his mom, he is always in control. That would mean if he was doing bad in school, there would be no parent there to punish him. His mother even writes him in pictures because she never taught him how to read. One of the best pieces of evidence I have for this was revealed in the latest season. In Season 15, it is revealed that Charlie can perfectly read and write in Irish. He thought he was using a made-up language with his pen pal, but it was in fact Irish.
It's not gibberish, you just can't read, dude.
Well, no, I can read this. Here, check this out. The Lee Valley, as far back as...
Wait a second. This is like Irish or Gaelic or whatever they call it. You can read that?
Well, Gaelic or Irish is what you call the magical gibberish language that my pen pal taught me. Yes, Mac, I can.
So you're telling me that you can't read English, but you can speak and read an entirely different language?
That means he has the ability to read and write, but he was never taught how to in English. Not being able to read or do math is not necessarily a good measurement of one's intelligence. Charlie makes up for the fact that he can't read or write in other aspects of his life. He is an amazing musician, he can play the piano with ease, and he can plot complicated schemes to get what he wants. He does this in Season 2, Episode 4, Mac bangs Dennis's mom. In this episode, Dennis and Dee are in charge of cleaning the bar, and Charlie is the boss of both of them. Dennis hatches a plan to get his old job back by threatening to sleep with the waitress. When Dennis tells Charlie his plan, he doesn't concede and comes up with a plan for him to sleep with the waitress instead. Mac tells Charlie that Dennis's mom wants to sleep with him, and Charlie encourages him to do so. Charlie recruits Dee to help with his plan in order for her to get her old job back. Charlie then tells Dennis that Mac is sleeping with his mom, and in order for him to get back at Mac, must sleep with his mother. That way Dee can show the waitress that Dennis is a creep who likes to sleep with old women. Dee then tells the waitress in order to get back at Dennis, she must sleep with his friend, Charlie. This plan ends up backfiring because the waitress instead ends up sleeping with Frank. Now, this might not seem like an elaborate plan, but it is impressive when you think it came from the same person who didn't know what a receipt calculator was in the same episode.
What are you?
Now, this can be overlooked as in the first season of the show, Charlie was a regular guy. In the pilot, Charlie is seen dominating in the game Dominoes, which requires you to be relatively well versed in math. It wasn't until the later seasons when they started leaning on his lack of intelligence as a permanent character trait. So instead, let's take a look at an example of a later season where Charlie is considered not smart by the creators. In season 8, episode 4, Charlie and Dee find love. The waitress gets fed up with Charlie stalking her and tells him to finally leave her alone. Charlie agrees and stops helping her. Later on, Charlie and Dee end up meeting rich siblings and fall in love with them. The rich siblings end up liking them despite their quirky qualities. Dennis believes it is a cruel intentions type situation where rich people with tons of time on their hands make fun of the lower class. They use them for entertainment. Meanwhile, the waitress realizes she needs Charlie. Without him, her life falls apart. When Charlie sees her again in this state, he finally lets her go and continues to pursue Ruby Taft, one of the rich siblings. At the end of the episode, the rich siblings invite them to a party. At this event, Mac and Dee realize they are only there to be made fun of. Dennis exposes the siblings and gets the waitress to tell Charlie that she does in fact need him in her life. It is then revealed that Charlie was in fact using Ruby Taft the whole time instead of the other way around. He did this to make the waitress jealous.
I'm leaving. I'm going to be with the waitress. She's the woman I love.
No, but I wasn't using you like Trevor was. He's a total asshole. I really, really, really like you.
Oh. Yeah, I know. Okay, I was using you. That's why I kissed you in front of the waitress. That's why I banged you a bunch of times, just to make the waitress jealous. Amazing. You slept with me almost instantly.
How can you do this to me?
Are you still talking? Go away, dum-dum. Go, run and hide. Go from me. I don't want to see you.
This is an instance where Charlie was secretly playing the mastermind the whole time. Even the gang was surprised at this impressive feat. In Charlie Work, another late season episode, we see again Charlie be the smart one in the group. In this episode, the health inspector is coming to grade the bar. The rest of the gang is trying to do an airline mileage scam that involves chickens and steaks. Throughout the entire episode, Charlie is manipulating the gang to avoid the health inspector from finding out that the bar isn't clean and operational. If the health inspector found this out, they would be shut down. The toilet is clogged, so he makes it sound like someone is using it. He knows what carbon monoxide is and the dangers of it, and he figures out the gang's plan without them telling him.
Charlie, you don't even know what the goddamn plan is.
You guys used Frank's credit card, you bought a bunch of airline miles. You used those airline miles to purchase 400 steaks. Knowing that this delivery company delivered all variety of animal products, your plan was to contaminate the steaks with chicken feathers by rubbing live chickens all over them. Then you were going to repackage the steaks. At which point you were going to return the contaminated steaks for actual cash, taking advantage of a loophole in the current airline mile system, correct?
Very good, Charlie.
Finally, at the end of the episode, he successfully convinces the truck driver that the bar is a restaurant and the health inspector that the bar is clean and operational enough to pass. When Charlie puts his mind into something he truly cares about, like his job or being with the waitress, he can perform incredible tasks. At the end of the episode, Charlie is proud of this achievement and the gang blows him off.
Charlie, come on, we always pass, okay? We never have a hard time passing. It's not a big deal. Nobody gives a shit. You didn't do anything that special.
Are you kidding me? I saw you. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable.
So why is it that Charlie seems like a dumb person when he has shown he could be incredibly smart? This could be a confidence issue. In season 9, episode 8, Flowers for Charlie, he is given a pill to make him smarter. In this episode, he becomes more intelligent, learns Portuguese, and is able to stump Dennis.
Dude, just because you're finishing our sentences doesn't make you
Intelligent.
Oh.
At the end of the episode, it is revealed that the pill did nothing and it was a placebo effect. Charlie says,
Right, stupid science bitch couldn't even make I more smarter.
implying that he was dumb the whole time. But if it was a placebo, how could he speak so well and eloquently?
Frank is feeling somewhat marginalized. Now, he's gone out of his way to enlist your aid, in the hopes that my deep infatuation with you will perhaps pull me away from those people and those pursuits that have, in turn, been pulling me away from Frank as of late.
In season 9, episode 3, the Best Bar Award, Charlie writes a beautiful song for the bar.
They always vote you best in show, but this dog, he disagrees. 'Cause I like life in Patty's Pub.
The gang hates this seemingly normal and good song and they lock him in the basement. To deal with this trauma, like he did in his childhood, Charlie huffs anything he can get his hands on. When he tries to perform the song again, He talks about spiders and in classic Charlie vocabulary.
There's a spider, spider, spider.
This is a prime example of the gang holding him back. If this is a confidence issue, he just needs someone to push him. He never improves or works on himself because the gang is holding him back. He has surrounded himself with people who are selfish and never push him forward in life. If there's anything you could take from this video, it's to surround yourself with positive people who will push you forward in life. Otherwise, you'll never know your full potential.
Well, I'm getting sick of this shit. I really am. You know, they treat me like a dum-dum and a grunt, and I have potential, you know? I could go places. I could do things. Who knows? I might even rule the world one day.